Just good morning. Just good morning.
So I'm actually very excited to present my reflections as a supervisee. And although I was supervised back when I started, being supervised, getting supervision after around 8 years of practice, I think changed a lot of perspectives for me. So I thought it was very important to document that and share that as well. So that's why I'm here today presenting this. So why is this relevant? I think supervision is super important for professional development, our own personal development as well. And I think we become better practitioners with supervision. But the thing is, in India, so many of us are here today, and there are many more as well. I'm sure you all would agree that supervision is not taken that seriously, because people think that, I think the education that we receive during our masters is more than enough. And of course we learn on the job, but then I think it's very important that we get that perspective as well from other people, and I think that's why it's so relevant and important that we speak about it a little more. So like I mentioned, it's rarely practiced in a structured manner. So even if it's there, it's not really structured very well. Reflective supervision is nearly absent in India. So I think that also is very important that we start reflecting on our own work, whether it's supervision or not. I think reflecting is just important. And yes, so this particular reflection is based on 18 months of structured reflection across 32 sessions. So quite intense. So what are the frameworks informing supervision? Proctor's model, that was more for the structure of the supervision itself. For the reflection as such, it was the Gibbs reflective cycle, what, so what, now what. And since my PhD is right now on psychological safety, and I do a lot of work from with polyvagal theory as well. So perspectives from that, speaking about co-regulation, neuroception, all of that. Depth psychology, because my supervisor is a depth psychologist, so she ended up, there was a lot of depth psychology also used over there. And of course cultural psychology. Again, there was a lot of discussion on whether it's culturally relevant or not during the supervision as such. So it's more from the contextual tech lens as such. So how is the inquiry as such structured? So again, like I mentioned, 32 sessions across 18 months starting March 2024 and finishing about August 2025. And there were certain analysis that I did from the reflections I had after our sessions as such. There was some sort of reflective journal that I maintained, and going through that is how I actually came up with this reflection presentation as such. And yes, I think there was a lot more use of Gibbs cycle over here, because that was a lot easier and it was more structured in terms of instead of just talking about the problem or the issue or the challenge, it gave me a context and a pathway to look at what can I do about it. So even if you look at this particular presentation towards the end, I speak about how we could probably structure supervision in India, probably that, how could we maybe do that. Growth across 32 supervision sessions. I have divided this into 3 phases after going over the reflections. Phase 1, foundation and resistance. So again, is there, am I doing this right? Questions like that, the self-doubt. It doesn't mean I'm wrong if it has to be done in a different way. Fear of judgment, ethical uncertainty, blurred boundaries. Again, this was more because I work a lot with parents and coaches as well. So what is really my work, what is really their work, how much do I need to communicate with them, all of that was addressed. Phase 2 was more about deepening and identity formation. So there, I think, was a lot of work, right? So this was between sessions 9 to 20. Of course, it's not so structured and so black and white that this is how it was, but going through my reflections is what I saw. Looked at relational vulnerability, looked at the success triangle that my supervisor had developed. Phase 3, integration and leadership. So professional embodiment, clear boundaries, and how do I start supervising upcoming practitioners as well. So that upcoming emerging supervisor role as well. So that all those were discussed. So phase 1, one, I'm going a little deeper into this. Entering supervision apprehensively, again, some sort of defensiveness, any kind of self-protective mechanism. So all of that was there during the first few sessions. Ethical uncertainty, again, fear of error, fear of judgment, professional doubt. Am I, every time I was trying to do something, I would probably second guess myself and then go discuss it with my supervisor. Somatic vigilance, of course, this all shows up in our body. So just sympathetic activation of flight or fight, how do I react, how does that get projected onto my sessions and what do I do about it, so that kind of a thing. And the blind spots, what my colleague here would like to call slippery slopes, which is the dilemmas, the emerging awareness of just the dilemmas that exist in terms of ethics. Phase 2, reflections to integration in terms of that. So there was quite a bit of shadow work because again my supervisor comes from a depth psychology perspective. The success triangle, again I'm going to take you through that in the next slide, the I, we, do framework that actually took shape over there. Emotional literacy, so developing tolerance for discomfort and vulnerability. So my own discomfort and vulnerability and my athletes' discomfort and vulnerability as such as well. And of course cultural conditioning as well. So again, understanding how our cultural background influences any kind of professional identity that we actually have and the kind of dynamics that come as well along with it, right? So the I, we and do framework. I is basically the inner work, identity, clarity, the kind of self-awareness that comes along with it. We is this relational attunement, so again boundaries, authentic connections, and collaboration as well. So how do you engage with your athlete, how do you engage with your supervisor, how do you engage with the others in the ecosystem, the sports science staff, the sports science team, the athlete manager, all of them, because that's the we, that's the thing that we mostly don't talk about, right? Do, which is the behavior portion of it, which is what do I do about it in simple terms. But again, what is the professional action that I'm taking? What kind of skill execution do I need here? What are the things I need to learn over here? What kind of decisions do I need to make? Although I may not be comfortable with it, but it is right for that situation, I need to be doing that. So that is what it was. And we spoke about alignment. Alignment mostly in terms of authenticity and performance. So how that reaches alignment. Phase 3, becoming an embodied practitioner. So again, the entire transition from being a supervisee to an emerging supervisor. So stepping into a role, a leadership role again it comes with a lot of things as well. Balance, autonomy and interdependence. So we still make our own decisions, but how do we still ask for guidance when we need to ask for? So that was another thing. Emotional regulation and differentiated identity. So apart from being a practitioner, are there other things that I can look at in terms of having that identity? So this is where my, I think there's another field of research that I look into, which is, self-care for practitioners, self-care for sports psychologists. And I think that came from a lot of this work as such. Internalized supervision principles as such. So how do I integrate supervision frameworks into everyday practice and the everyday decisions that we make on an everyday basis, right? So core dimensions of growth. So what do I feel in terms of my own growth with these 32 sessions is some sort of clarity in terms of, yes, this is what it is. These are, of course there are gray areas still, but I know to take that step back and see it probably a little more clearly and then get back to the decision. So that taking time is okay, so that is something that I learned. Again, boundaries, I think I've spoken about that enough. Authenticity, so again, bringing myself to the entire session as such, my embodied self to the session, because I think that's really important instead of just taking something that may not really work for the athlete. Resilience, managing the emotional load, managing the workload as such, but how do I also say no when I have to say no? Integration, again, personal, professional integration, how do we integrate that seamlessly? So that's happened really well in the last 1.5 years. And of course, cultural reflexivity. So again, this is something, even India is really big. And in the south it's very different versus in the north it's really, really different. And I think we had that conversation just some time back, but I think that it's very important to understand where the athlete is coming from and to see instead of coming from a space of judgment. So supervision in an Indian context, I'm just going to quickly run through these slides. High power distance, I'm sorry about that. I think there's a missing issue when setting it. So again, we need some kind of authentic disclosure and dialogue in terms of supervision relationships as such. I think that is missing. There's no openness. I think that is one reason why people don't opt for supervision as such. Pressure to appear competent. So again, because India is very competitive and we need to be the best when we are there out there, right? So that competition is always there, and there's this natural need to appear competent whether we are or not. So again, that is something that really inhibits this. Relational obligation. So again, we feel that we have to say yes to the athlete when we are really not equipped to do something. So that obligation, or that could be one. Sparse supervision infrastructure. So there's no real infrastructure in place with regard to supervision in India currently, right now. And there's need for culturally grounded theories and models. Again, that is currently absent, and I'm sure all of us are working towards it, but it's currently absent. Inner systems influencing. I think I did speak about this. So I'm just going to move to the next slide. So proposed India-based supervision model. Again, this is just my idea, what I thought from the reflections. Relational safety, having that open conversation instead of assuming, just having those open dialogues and conversations. I think that can really open a lot of doors and a lot of trust as well within the community as such. Cultural humility. The reason I think this is the most important factor over here is because, again, all of us are coming from very different cultures, and it's very important to respect where a person is coming from, even as colleagues, even as a supervisee, right? Depth reflection. I think reflection again is absent. We kind of focus a lot on quantity, like number of athletes we really see, rather than quality. Are we really reflecting after that? Do we actually write down things after our sessions? That is something that we really need to think about. I don't think that's part of the process. So if you go to organizations, I'm sure the only thing they're going to ask you is, how many sessions did you do today? There is no time to actually reflect and write things, right? At least rarely, right? Shared leadership, again, not one person alone doing a lot of things, making sure there are heads for different things as well. So for example, there are different responsibilities as well, and of course promoting that responsibility that you have to be supervised, you have to be in supervision in these many years, something like that. We have to come up with that kind of a structure. Structured journaling, I spoke about this some time ago, and of course boundary awareness. So making sure that we don't really do things that we are not equipped to handle. So shift in my applied practice. Before supervision, had performance anxiety, would diffuse boundaries, so it was very hard to say no to anything for that matter. Reactive decision making, emotional flooding, and overextension. So I think I would be burnt out most of the time and not acknowledge that at all. After 32 sessions, grounded confidence, definitely a clear sort of containment with athletes, parents, and teams. It became a lot easier for me to manage my workload as well. Reflective and ethical reasoning, so I think that was a very important part for me. Regulation and composure under pressure. And of course, sustainable balance between the enhanced capacity that I'm taking on as a supervisor when I start that as well. So that was what it was. So again, I think I spoke about this a little bit when I spoke about the supervision model that I was talking about. So again, we need to, I think, look at something that works for us as Indians, and something that has worked out for most of us is taking the ISSP-R pathway as well. So that has really prompted most of us to either be supervised or kind of reflect on certain things. So again, looking at that and look at what kind of frameworks really help early career practitioners as well. Yes, we spoke about this. Yes, thank you so much, and if there are any questions.